Hello, everyone, and welcome again to your channel, Math Made Easy. Here I am redoing a session where I think it wasn't clear enough for everybody to grasp, and that was expanding any multiple of a trig function. Like if I say, how do you expand sine of 2x? Of course, you know, it's 2 sine x cosine x. Or what about cosine 2x? So you say cosine square x minus sine square x. But what if I tell you, for example, expand cosine of 5x in terms of just sine x and cosine x? How do you do it using Pascal triangle? First, we have to identify which row is the row of fives. Of course, it is the row that starts with a 5 after the leading one. So this is the zeros row, the ones row, the twos row, and the fives row. Second thing I want you to do is to expand x plus y to the fifth, which you learned probably in algebra using this Pascal triangle. It's so easy, right? You say 1, and then you start with x to the highest power plus 5. You drop 1 from the power of x and you add 1 to the power of y such that the sum of the exponent always have to be 5. This is common sense, right? So you get x to the fourth y. And then you go to the 10 plus 10 x cubed y squared plus 10 x squared y cubed. And it's a mirror image plus 5xy to the fourth plus y to the fifth. That's easy, okay? Now, we are always considering the cosine to be x and the sine to be y. That's important. So, if I'm expanding cosine, I would be looking at the x's, but not all the terms. I'm going to look at the odd terms, meaning the first, the third, the fifth. And if I'm expanding sine, I will be looking at the even terms, meaning the second, the fourth, and the sixth. The last thing you have to, so now you have to think of two things. X is cosine, y is sine. X is odd, y is even, meaning not odd and even in terms of the oddly placed terms, the first term, the third term, the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, and so on and so forth. And then the evenly placed second, fourth, sixth are for the sine. The last thing is that we are going to now write those terms, the three terms, when x is cosine and y is sine. And finally, I have to alternate the signs. Okay, don't get confused with sine sin and sine sign. The sign, the plus or the minus. The first one is positive, second is negative, third is positive, fourth is negative, and so on and so forth. So according to that, I'm going to write this as cosine to the fifth power of x. Notice everything is sine x or cosine x. I skip that, I go to the second, so minus, because we alternate the signs, 10. The x is cosine, so cosine cubed x, sine squared x. And finally, plus 5 cosine x, sine to the fourth of x. That's how easy it is. Let's do one for the y, and that should be a short session. I'm not going to expand anything else. Sine of 6x. 6x meaning I go to the row of sixes, right? I'm going first, until I get familiar with it, you can do it. You do the x plus y to the sixth power first, okay? And then you are going to write x to the sixth plus 6x to the fifth y plus 15x to the 4y squared plus 20x cubed y cubed plus 15x squared y to the fourth plus 6xy to the fifth plus y to the sixth. And because I'm doing the sine, I go to the even, okay? Second, fourth, sixth. And I alternate the signs. So it's so easy to see that this one is 6 cosine to the fifth x sine x. I was going to say sine 1 minus 20 cosine cubed x sine cubed x plus 6 sine x cosine, I'm sorry, cosine x. I could have, okay, sine to the fifth x. Okay, so let's rewrite it clean here. Cosine x sine to the fifth of x. And that's it. I hope this one clarified any confusion or misconceptions that you had before. And you can see this is a very easy way to expand, quickly. Sine 2x, you all know it's 2 sine x cosine x, right? And you know that x plus y square equals x square plus 2xy plus y square. So if I want to say cosine 2x, notice I take the first and the third. The first is cosine square x, and then you say minus, and this is sine square y, sine square x. Everybody knows that, right? And if I want to say sine of 2x, I take the second term, which is 2 cosine x sine x. I know that you learn it as 2 sine x cosine x, but here, since we write the x first, if you want, make that y plus x to the sixth and y plus x to the fifth, and you will get the sine before the cosine. But it really doesn't matter. And you might get confused with the positive and negative because you are starting from the right. So no, just keep it like that. And I hope this was easy enough for you to follow. And if you have any questions, please add them to the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much. Have a great day.